What I want to ask you, though, now, and I hope you'll be frank with me, is that increasing Palestinians who are writing about this, even some, Hamas people of the past, they are beginning to admit something that maybe they should have admitted a while ago. And that is, you actually need this process because there has not been any success militarily by Hamas to end the occupation, to get a Palestinian state, to protect the rights and the safety of the Palestinian people. Do you agree that after all these decades, just like the IRA, just like the PKK in Turkey, that you have to go into a political track because militarily you have not succeeded?
I'm sorry to say, Christine, that okay, if this is your judgment that Hamas has failed to achieve an independent Palestinian state, but let us go 30 years ago. Palestinians represented by the PLO, which is the sole and legitimate representative of Palestine, of all Palestinians, including members of Hamas, who are de facto members of this organization, they have given the Israelis a great chance to go for a political, peaceful solution. Who has undermined and spoiled this chance? It is the Israelis. First, by rejecting, and this has been said many times by Netanyahu and his government, by rejecting this track to the two-state solution, and second, by assassinating and killing the man who has signed the agreement with the Palestinians in 1993. Second, yes, after the last 2 or 3 years, maybe we have failed to achieve this, but all what has been committed in Gaza after October 7th, it is a full conscious decision to commit a genocide or to commit a crime against humanity regardless of the military action. Therefore, if we have a political a chance to a political solution, Hamas is ready, and we have said it many times. At the moment, we have a serious chance to have a Palestinian state. Hamas will be converted at that time into a political party. We will give up political resistance. Our weapons will be handed over to Palestinian state. Our armed fighters will be members or part of the Palestinian National Army or Guard. But this is at the end of the process. Therefore, I agree with you. This political conflict, the conflict between the Palestinians and the Israelis, it is not an armed conflict. It is a political conflict. It has to be solved politically, but it has to guarantee the political rights of Palestine to have an independent, self-sovereign state. And Hamas, in its political document in 2017, has clearly stated that Hamas can accept a state on 67 borders with Jerusalem as a capital, and guaranteeing the right of Palestinian refugees, the right of return to Palestinian refugees. Who has used this chance to build on this political solution? No one, including neither the Israelis nor the international community. We are looking for a political solution, but as long as we don't achieve it, we have always the right as people under occupation to resist this occupation by all means, including armed resistance, like any people around the world. It is not exclusive for Palestinians, and all the conflicts, armed conflicts, have been solved at the end in Ireland, in other areas, by a political solution at the end.
What I want to ask you is this. All these years, several years since the massacre and the killing of civilians, as well as military, in Israel on October 7th, Yahya Sinwar, the head of Hamas, had studied Israel and Hebrew for years. He studied it in prison. He knew exactly what was going on. Do you really believe that he did not anticipate what would be the Israeli reaction to the murder of their civilians in an invasion like the one Hamas did into Israel on October 7th? Do you believe now that that was a miscalculation on his part, given what's happened?
I think these are two different points. I was not, and I'm not part of that decision to launch the operation on October 7th. I was member of the political bureau, but I am not was of the decision to do it. But if he expected or not, this is an issue. Maybe he was expecting such a response. I don't know. But on the other side, who can claim that the response of Israel is automatically a response to the operation on October 7th? Yes, I agree that there could be, or it should be, or it is expected that there will be a military response against, as we have seen in 2008, 2012, 2014, 2021, and so on. But what happened after that, which is clearly described by big international legal bodies like ICC and ICG, it has nothing to do with the military response. It is a full conscious decision of the Israeli government. The ICG didn't hear the Hamas and aware about October 7th, but despite of this, they have described what happened in Gaza, have all the indications of a genocide. Therefore, this is a full, totally separated entity from what happened in October 7th, regardless how you judge it.
You might think it's separated, Mr. Na'im, but this happened and then that happened. This is a fact. 70,000 plus Palestinians were killed after 1,200 Israelis were massacred and hundreds were taken hostage and many of them were killed. So this is a fact. What I want to ask you is, as you are now, were you surprised then? Are you telling me you're surprised by the reaction?
No, again, I am not surprised because I am aware about the nature and the core project of the Israelis. It is already an adopted plan by the Israelis to end the Palestinian existence within this sphere between the river and the sea. This is what they are doing in Gaza, in the West Bank, in Jerusalem. Okay, again, maybe he has expected a harsh response or not. This is not my duty to answer it because I don't know. But again, we should not again and again to blame the victims. For example, in Gaza, I was the Minister of Health for years, and I was part of the leadership for the last 20 years. We have tried through the UN, through the mediators, and through the Great March of Return, a very peaceful public demonstrations near the fence to get rid of the siege against Gaza, to end the blockade, to get rid of of all this, what we call it. Israel has converted Gaza Strip into an animal farm, into a new concentration camp. All these peaceful steps have led to the same result. Israeli crimes, unfortunately, supported by the international community, especially in the West. The Israelis and the international community, in particular the West, they have squeezed the people into the corner, and therefore all what's happened after that is the expected response to the negligence of the international community to this conflict and the complicity of the international community, in particular the Israelis.
Now the United States, President Trump is trying to end this and trying to do a peace plan that you say that you have bought into. Right now, Benjamin Netanyahu has a population who are still angry, who are still traumatized, who are still wounded, and who support quite a lot of war as a way to make them feel secure. I want to ask you one thing about the people who were chosen or the people who were killed by Hamas. Vivian Silva, just one of the civilians who were killed on October 7th. 74 years old, a Canadian Israeli. She had her kibbutz invaded. She was a peace activist, Bاسم نعيم. She was focused on improving the rights of Palestinians, and she reportedly even drove Palestinians to Israeli hospitals for their medical treatment. I want to know, do you regret the killings of Vivian Silva and people exactly like her who were devoted to also living side by side in peace with their Palestinian neighbors with all their rights?
Look, this is I am sorry but to say, but this is a little bit, you cannot simplify it like this because I am sure
it's really a simple human question. Bاسم نعيم, it's a last, it's a last question and it's a human question.
Yes, I will answer it. First of all, our conflict with Israel is not a conflict neither with Jews, neither with Judaism, neither with anyone who is looking for a peaceful coexistence. But at the end, if a people of 2 million people who are squeezed into a piece of land like Gaza Strip for years and years, and they have tried by all peaceful means to get rid of the siege, not the occupation. And Gaza, by the way, was besieged by all these kibbutzes. It was controlled by all these kibbutzes around Gaza. This is not my responsibility to stand inside these areas, which is totally controlled by the army, including the food and the milk of my child. If someone is really serious about peace, which is my goal also, he has to stand up and to fight for peace, and not to be or to use as a slogan within the military complex.
Vivian Silva was devoted to peace. With all of this that we've been talking about and the difficulties, do you believe this peace process will advance?
If there is a will, it will happen. It depends on President Trump himself, who we thanked him many times for his plan and his will. If there is a will on the American side first, and the international community in general, who adopted the President Trump plan in the UN Security Council 2803, if there is a will, yes, it can proceed forward. We are still committed. We want to facilitate, to cooperate the whole plan, but it depends on how much they can oblige or pressure Israel to accept the plan, regardless of their internal conflicts. And we should not again pay the price for his success in the elections from the lives of my beloved people in Gaza. But we are committed, and we believe there is a good chance, and it can happen.